I'm laughing, so it's all good.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. This is the New Jersey Real Estate Investors Association Expo, and I have to say, this is going to be one of my favorite webinars of the entire day. Not only because I'm in it, of course not, but because I have two amazing people that are going to be here with us during this session to break down the construction business, which for many people is one of the biggest challenges and one of the biggest risks to the entire business. So listen real quick, okay? If you're tuning in, we have to make this the most exciting, the most fun we've ever had in our entire lives on this webinar, okay? If you're tuning in right now, I want you to put it in the comment section, drop it in the comment section. Let me know where you're tuning in from. Are you watching from Middlesex? Are you watching from Randolph, New Jersey? Are you watching from Jersey City? Shout out Jersey City. Joey, where are you tuning in from?
Morristown, New Jersey.
Morristown and Randy?
South Plainfield.
Boom, baby. South Plainfield. Okay, so put it in the comment section right now. Let me know where you guys are tuning in from. Literally, this webinar is going to be life-changing for the aspect. If you're ready to learn about the construction space, these two guys here are the number one people you need to talk to for that. So we're excited. Let's dive in deep with them. We're going to get started in like 2 to 3 minutes, okay? But for now, if you're just tuning in, put it in the comment section. Let me know what town you're tuning in from. All right, here we go. We got Lewis from West Orange. Shout out West Orange.
My former hometown.
Yeah, you from West Orange?
Yes, sir.
I love it. Nicole's from Belford, New Jersey. Where's that at? I don't even know where that is. South Jersey?
I don't know.
Nicole, you gotta let us, like, you in South Jersey, Central Jersey? Where you from, yo? Mary's from Middlesex. Hey. Shout out Middlesex.
Around the corner.
Yeah, Luis is awesome. Hey, for those of you guys who are just not tuning in, because we're starting to get a lot more viewers, this thing is blowing up. Make sure you guys let me know where you're watching from, what town you're tuning in from. By the way, Joey just went to go switch over his pizza. He's making pizza for his kids, so he'll be back in a few seconds. All right, we got Kevin from Wanakee. This guy is from Newark. Shout out Newark, New Jersey. That's like you're like my next door neighbor, man. I'm in Jersey City. We're like so close to each other. Santiago's from Bloomfield. Nicole answered it. South Middletown. I know where that is. Thank you, Nicole. I appreciate you.
That was a lot easier.
Yeah, a lot easier. Ron's from Passaic. What up, Ron? How are you, bro? Good to see you, man. All right, guys. So as soon as Joey gets back, he's switching over a cheese pizza that he got at Costco. No, we do not do advertisement for Costco, but you got to give credit where it's due. Randy just bought some pizza from Costco too, right?
My boss did. My wife.
The wife did.
And that's all the kids eat, man. Pizza, chicken nuggets, French fries. I don't know.
You got to keep the kids happy, right? And the wife.
You know what's funny? Hold on, real quick. My kids don't like to eat Chinese food, right? So sweet and sour chicken. Yeah. You got to play mind games with the kids because it's all about perspective. So my kids would never eat sweet and sour chicken. You know what I did? I call it Chinese chicken nuggets. They love them. Love them. I think it's perspective,
great, man. I love it. All right, guys, real quick, let me do this one last time, okay? If you're tuning in for this construction panel, I'm telling you right now, make sure you are ready. These next 40 minutes, we are gonna go so deep. We're gonna hear some incredible stories. We're gonna dive into some information that definitely needs to be hit on, whether you're brand new or maybe your experience. This webinar is going to be absolutely incredible. So please do me a huge favor, okay? I need you guys to engage with me. I need you guys to be active. I need you guys to be present with me. And in addition to that, okay, final two things. Make sure you share this with your friends. Okay, send this out to your friends so we can get as many people to this information as possible. And in addition to that, let me know where you guys are tuning in from. Say what's up in the comment section. Like, this is going to be off the chain webinar. Okay, so let's have some fun here. Put in the comment section, say what's up. Let me know how you're feeling. Let me know how excited you are for this webinar today. Let's put it in here. Mike's like, what's up? What up, Mike? Hey,
what's up, Mike?
Louis, she knows about the Costco vibes, right? She got cheesecake there. All right, respect. Put in the comment section, say what's up, what's up, what's up. Let me know how you guys are feeling today. All right, so I will be, Luis is very excited. I'm excited for you too, brother. Let's get it. All right, guys. So let's get started, okay? So first and foremost, my name is Elijah. I'm going to be hosting today's panel, and we are going to have some fun. So I'm going to get into intros. Okay, we're going to start off with Joey Chan first. Joey, say what's up.
What's up, guys? How's it going?
All right, so Joey has literally owned a construction company for the past 17 years, okay? And to enhance his knowledge, he even became a certified home inspector back in 2006, which was a few years after I was born. And then in 2008, Joey started to invest in real estate, purchasing his first non-owner occupied rental home in West Orange, New Jersey, which he did tell us he was from West Orange earlier. And in 2010, he purchased actually a commercial property in Jersey City. And he's been involved in real estate ever since. So to date, Joey owns double-digit rental units, mortgage notes, and has been directly involved in over 40 real estate transactions. That's outside of the construction, okay? And in addition to that, Joey also owns other businesses as well, including a restaurant. Where's the restaurant at, Joey?
It's East Orange, New Jersey.
Yeah, because you guys have the restaurant there. He has a kitchen cabinet sales showroom, so he does all kitchen cabinets. And he's also a co-host with shout out Jonathan Boyle on their weekly real estate podcast, The Newbie Real Estate Investors, which has been seen on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Google, Spotify, and many other products. Okay, Joey's going to be giving us a lot of information today. Joey, we're excited to have you.
I'm excited to be here.
All right, let's get into Randy. Randy is a freaking rock star. Okay, Randy has been in the residential construction field since high school. While most people were out dating girls, Randy was swinging the hammer, baby. All right. He has and runs his own construction company since 2004. While being an REO agent, he started his current preservation construction company, which is RFK Construction. And in 2012, out of necessity, because of lack of quality, reliable contractors who REO agents could not count on, Randy has completed over 75 full rehabs and still rehabs for himself, JVs with other investors, and runs bank-owned rehabs for institutionals such as Fannie Mae and others. Typically, he does 12 to 15 rehabs a year while only stepping foot on the projects 4 times from start to end because of his ability to attract and retain quality contractors. Randy, I am excited to have you. Thank you for tuning in.
Yeah, thanks, man. Thanks for having me.
All right, so gentlemen, real quick, okay? By the way, you guys who are commenting, keep it going in the comment section. Let me know if those are awesome intros, okay? Gentlemen, so for anyone who doesn't know, what does your day-to-day operations look like right now? After we answer this question, I'm going to kind of reverse a little bit and kind of get into how you guys got started. But just for the big picture, I want to know, what does your day-to-day operation look like as of today? And we'll start with Joey.
Yeah, so right now, I've got crews out working. I've got a bunch of subcontractors out as well. And I'm here with you guys. I basically shut my phone off, no phone calls or anything like that. Otherwise, I'll be getting phone calls and questions. Hey, where do I install this cabinet? Where do I do this, that? So I actually took care of some of that stuff earlier this morning before I came on. So that was good. Basically, yeah, that's what it looks like right now. So I bought myself a little bit of freedom from the construction company. A few years ago, I had to be there every day. I was running around buying materials, things like that. And then I kind of freed myself in order to do the real estate business.
I love it, man. That's an awesome. Thank you, Joey. And Randy, what about your operations?
Well, yeah, it's a lot like Joey. Back in the day, I'm literally doing all the work. Always going to the stores, doing the spackle and the tile and hanging the cabinets, doing all that kind of stuff. I have come to become very lazy over the years, so I don't like to do that stuff anymore. But I find, just like Joey is, like in this business, a lot of people, they strive for that freedom, and that's really what I'm going for. My kids, they do competitive soccer, so like my day's got to stop at 4:00, and I'm with them almost till 9. So I was like, I cannot be responsible for a lot of that job stuff because I got to, do a lot of traveling. But a lot of my day-to-day operation, what I actually really got to focus on now is retained client relationships. That's a big one. I do a lot looking on I got some blueprints behind me up here.
Yeah.
I'm very anal on the blueprints because even architects can make very stupid mistakes. And, just because it meets a code doesn't mean it's right. Like, for example, if you got like a 12-foot hallway, you don't want that to be 3 feet. It's narrow. You want it to be like at least good 4 feet. But stupid things like that. I do a lot, when it comes to our renovations. I do a lot when it comes to the kitchen layout and the design. Other than that, to be honest, I have a project manager that I have just empowered over the years. He used to be the one that was going and spackling and doing what I was doing, hanging the cabinets. I don't know the last time I've actually seen him do any work, to be honest, but he manages it well. So the reason why that's important to have a good on-the-grounds project manager is because he went from doing one rehab at a time, and right now he could probably do about 4 comfortably. You know, four might be a little pushing it because we do bigger rehabs. They're like 70, 80, 90,000 on average. I don't get those like 30, 40s. They just don't come my way.
Yeah, man. I love that. So real quick, guys, we're going to be doing 2 giveaways throughout this webinar. Okay, so make sure you stay on because I'm going to be doing them at a random time. Joey's going to be doing an incredible giveaway, and Randy is also going to be doing an insane giveaway as well. Okay, so make sure you guys are ready. Make sure you guys are paying attention because I'm going to be asking you guys random questions, and whoever answers them right is going to be the winners of the giveaway. Ooh. All right, so gentlemen, now that you guys have kind of gave us the big picture of kind of, you know, what you guys, you know, how you operate today, and in addition to that, you know, a little bit of bios and backgrounds about you, we're definitely a lot more familiar with who you are. But take me kind of back to the beginning, you know, because there's a lot of new people on here, and even myself in the construction space. You know, I want to know how you guys kind of got started in the construction space in the beginning. And we'll start with Randy for this one.
All right. Well, yeah, I mean, I worked at CVS for 3 months back in high school, and I was like, okay, this is not for me. I've always been very hands-on. You know, I always liked to take wood shop in high school. So I just fell into construction. I mean, I think my very first day as a contractor had me like putting some blue tape on some tiles because he was going to paint, which is the stupidest thing to do. If you see that, run from your contractors, by the way. I know Joey saw it on Facebook. It's like, saw somebody got blue tape around the windows.
Yes. You reminded me of that.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, I just generally always liked construction, but more specifically, I always like to be the finish guy. And the reason I like to be the finish guy is when you're working with retail homeowners, they don't see how neat the plumbing is. They don't see how neat the electric is, the insulation. The only people that care about that are the inspectors, and that's actually one of the most important. But when the homeowner's like, oh, wow, the tiles look so great and everything's beautiful, I'm like, yeah, I did that. Thanks. I got you. So I've always been a finish guy, but that always good because it always told me you got to pay attention to the details. So, I mean, I've just kind of always been into that construction field. My company, RFK Construction, it does kind of have 2 branches. One branch is like we do our rehab side, and the other branch is the preservation. And preservation, for you guys that don't know, is basically it's kind of like a construction company that works on foreclosed properties for the banks. So Dakota, Fannie Mae, whatever, any of these bigger banks. The agents need to get work done. So they end up hiring our company. But I've also, you know, I don't scale that company out as much as I can. Like if you guys remember I said before, like my day kind of shuts off. I get a little bit complacent. But I have a very niche group of agents that I work with because they allow me to monopolize their business. They allow me to monopolize their business because they know when they call me, the answer is, oh, I can't take care of that. Or they know that when the work's going to get done, I'm going to do exactly what we're supposed to do. If not, always go above and beyond. Because when you make the agents look good, they get more listings. So if they get the more listings, you know, everybody becomes more happy.
Right.
So I go to the construction side, you know, basically, no, really, that's kind of it.
So do you remember like your first project? Did you get hired by someone? Did you choose to like build a wood table? Because I know you're doing a workshop.
My first rehab, I kid you not, I partnered with another REO agent. And I mean, it's absolutely mind-boggling that I did this deal. And it's mind-boggling that the owner did it too. Now, granted, I was never going to take advantage of it because I don't do that stuff anyway. But, you know, quick numbers. The house is worth about $345. It was the lady's mom passed away. She owed $85,000 on the house. When I say a hoarder's house, I mean literally when I sat down with the homeowner to negotiate the deal, my knees, my partner's knees and her knees were about 3 inches apart and you couldn't walk in the house. It was crazy.
Wow.
But it had a leaking oil tank, had a bad septic. We did a forbearance agreement on that. So that's basically, you know, she's 6 months behind on the mortgage payments. We ended up, you know, paying her mortgage and a little bit more. So we took it over subject to, I put it into a trust. You know, we did the rehab. Oh, no, I physically did the rehab because I was doing it back then.
Like you were swinging the hammer, doing the plumbing, the electrical, like everything?
Yeah, and it was a crazy deal because back at that point, it's like, I raised $45,000 from another investor that I met at one of the local RIAs. And ironically, he lived about a mile down the street, so he was comfortable with it.
Right.
But I only had to raise about $60,000 to do this deal. We did an equity split where the homeowner got 70% and I got 30%. And this is where it got, it's good character. Because at this point, I did my paperwork wrong. And when I wrote it, I said that we get 70% and she gets 30%. And a lot of homeowners just sign paperwork and they don't even read it. And one day I get a call from an attorney and he's like blowing up. He's yelling at me. I'm being cool and calm. And I'm like, all right, Mr. Star. I was like, you know what? That was a mistake. Elizabeth is right. I'm not arguing. We'll correct the paperwork. She gets 70. I'm not trying to take her money. I was like, that was a mistake. So I was like, it's good just to keep the integrity. Because technically, I mean, she signed it. I mean, we have it all. So,
right.
But, with that deal too, what's kind of cool about that is, I think that $30,000, it was like about a $60,000 profit. But the silliest part that I did on that is I didn't even run title. I just like, I got a subject to deal. I'm going to put it into a trust because I came back from seminar. So I was like, I knew everything. I didn't even run title. I was like by the skin of my teeth. I was like, that's the scariest deal looking back because I could have been in big trouble, but it worked out.
Yeah. Wow, yeah, I'm glad it worked out. It's quite a story for sure.
Yeah. Guys, check title, okay, before you buy any house, 100%.
Definitely.
So, Joey, tell me about your first renovation project that you ever did, or how'd you get into it?
Oof. I honestly don't even remember the first one. I'll tell you about the first big one I did.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. So I was working at actually Home Depot. Okay, that's how I kind of got started. I got hired into Home Depot as a kitchen designer, and basically I worked there for about a year. And a coworker of mine, he knew that I was doing a little bit of construction on the side. Okay. And he said, hey, listen, I have a house I want to put an addition on. And he gave me the blueprints to check out. And so I started looking at it. Honestly, I didn't really know what the hell I was really looking at, to be honest, but I had a good idea, but I didn't know everything. There were things like LVLs, parallams, things like that. I was like, what the heck is that? So I called up the architect. I said, hey, and I actually worked with the same architect. Now, this is going back to 2002, 2003. Okay, so I worked with the same architect about a year ago on a much larger project. We did a 13,000 square foot daycare center. So same architect. But anyway, going back to the first one. I called the architect up and I said, hey, what does this mean? What is the LVL? So he kind of explained to me, hey, this is a engineered lumber. It's basically a engineered beam and not a standard 2x10 or 2x12. I said, oh, okay. And then I called up a lumber yard and I asked them how much it was and things like that. And so basically, I hired a friend, one of my dad's chefs, his uncle. Okay. So I hired his uncle to come and basically help me do the job.
Yeah.
So he came and we were planning the job. And so it took a while to get all the permits and things like that. And so in the meantime, that's how I kind of started my construction company. So that was going to be the first job, first real job. All the other jobs were small, not even memorable, to be honest with you. And so this one was going to be something significant. So I asked the guy, I said, hey, how much will you charge me to do this whole addition and everything? So he went, figured out all his numbers and things like that. And he came back to me. He said, hey, I can do this job for $80,000. It was like a 1,000 square foot addition. Okay. Wow. And the front of the house had a really nice wraparound porch and things like that. I said, okay, 80,000 I can probably do. And I went to my friend, and I said, hey, I can do this job for $85,000. Yeah. So physically, I didn't really do any real work. I basically just subcontracted the job. That was basically the first one. And then I handled all the paperwork as far as permits and things like that, and yeah.
So at this time, were you licensed yet?
No, I wasn't even licensed yet.
So how'd you get the permits and stuff then?
Because he was my coworker, he was my friend.
Got it.
We put it under his name.
Got it.
Okay, because he actually understood construction. Actually, it's so funny. I spoke with him yesterday for about an hour and a half. Okay, and I was like, hey, why don't you come work for me as a kitchen designer? So, by the way, I'm looking for anyone out there that knows anyone I'm looking for a full-time kitchen designer. Okay, for my showroom in Garfield, New Jersey.
Love it. All right, guys, we're going to do our first giveaway. Okay, this giveaway is literally a 30-minute phone call with Joey Chan. Okay, he's a hard guy to get in touch with because he's so busy. He's got homeowners calling him. He's got his subcontractors calling him. So for him to take 30 minutes out of his day and offer that to you for free, no charge, no sales, none of that, it means a lot. And Joey, we're excited you're giving this away. So listen, in order to win the giveaway, pay very close attention. You have to answer this question in the comment section, and the first person to answer it correctly wins the giveaway, okay? The question is this: what was the store that Joey worked at when he was just getting started in the construction space? What was the store that Joey worked at when he was just getting started in the construction space? First person to answer it right wins the giveaway. Let's see what we got. Boom. George Rojas got it. Home Depot. George.
You're wrong.
You spelled it wrong, man. Come on.
That's okay.
Shoot me a message on Facebook. I'm going to connect you and Joey so you can schedule your call. Thanks for participating. Everybody else, be ready for the second giveaway here shortly. All right. So the first stories are obviously the most interesting, especially all the stuff that you don't know. And then, today you guys have full operations and all that stuff. And we're getting ready to dive in here and really figure out, what are the characteristics and what are the qualities that you guys are looking for when you're hiring people. But before we get into the good things, I want to kind of hit on what was a crazy war story that you had? What was a really bad hire that, you experienced? Roughly how long ago was it? Why did you choose to hire them? If you could go back, how would you have done it differently? Would you guys be able to share a quick war story with us? We'll start with Joey.
Sure. You know what? I'll give you one where it's actually a subcontractor rather than an employee.
Okay.
Most of my employees actually, they were pretty good. I had very few really terrible hires as far as employees. So as far as a subcontractor, we hired an electrician to do actually 2 flips for us over in Plainfield, New Jersey. And this was 2019.
Yeah.
So it was very recent. So he was somebody that was actually recommended by a friend. I'm not going to name the friend. Okay. So he came and he did, I gave him 2 jobs at the same time because, like I said, he was highly recommended, and I checked out a couple of references, and that's very important, right? You want to check out references, especially for any subcontractors, anything like that, right? You want to call their references, okay? So he did the 2 jobs, and then towards the end, he got very, very antsy about getting paid. And I always pay all my subcontractors. I've never left anyone without getting paid. So, he kept demanding payment. I said, hey, when you get to the agreed amount, part of, let me say this again. When you get to the agreed upon point where you're supposed to get paid, you will get paid, once you reach that point, right? So he did not get to that point. Okay. And then we were waiting for materials that I was supposed to get. And I told him, look, I'm busy. Can you pick it up for me? I'll show you exactly what I need from Home Depot. So he went to Home Depot, pick up the material. He literally had it in his cart. And then he calls me, hey, this is a long line. I'm going to be here for another 20, 30 minutes. So what he did was he dropped everything and left. And then he told me, hey, after you get the material, I'll come back and finish up the job. You know, and then I had warned him a few times because he was supposed to finish the job like about a week or two ago, and he kept no-showing me. So that's when it became really confrontational.
Right.
So I said, hey, listen, if you don't show up today to finish this job, we're done. Okay, we're done. And so he left the cart, and I told him, look, okay, we're done. You know, I'll hire another contractor to finish the job because, you know, I've got other guys. I've got like 3 other guys behind, you know, waiting, you know, to get in and finish up the job. So, you know, I'm not afraid of you, you know, not finishing up the job. You're not going to screw me. What he did was he went to the other project, not the one we were just talking about. He went to the other project. He went there. He thought I was there. One of my other subcontractor was working there. He was actually spackling the walls, and the guy, he actually poked him in the back, thinking it was me from behind. Right, and the guy looked at him like, "What the heck you doing?" You know, he thought he was joking around, and then he went around. You know, because normally he would work there, right? So the general contractor that was there, he just let him, you know, kind of come in, right? And he started punching a lot of the walls. You know, he had a stick, kind of like a nightstick, like the police used to use, something similar to that. And he started punching all the walls. You know, and then I had it. We actually recorded it on Facebook. I don't know if you remember. So, you know, he came and did that. And then a few days later, he came and cut the main power to the house, you know. So obviously we fired him. We didn't pay him. And the sad thing was that a few weeks after that, he went into a coma. You know, so we never really got to like finalize everything. And but he did survive. He did come back out of the coma, but I haven't talked to him since.
Wow, man. I think it's very interesting that you know, where the referral comes from. I'm sure you guys, like, you know, being primarily a referral based business. What do you feel like that taught you, like, regardless of where it comes from? Like what do you think you learned in terms of that experience when it comes to hiring?
So as you know, for example, like different hard money lenders, right? They all have a strategy or something that they're good at, right? So the same thing with this electrician. So we come to find out that he's only good at doing new construction. All right. And so for that friend of mine, he only did new construction. Whereas for us, we were doing a renovation where we didn't remove all the sheetrock.
Yep.
And so he was terrible at that.
Wow, that's a major gold nugget right there. I love that. Yeah. All right, Joey, thank you for that war story. Like they say, you know, construction is not an easy breeze sometimes. You know, Randy, I'm sure you got a crazy war story. What do you got for us?
Yeah, well, before I get into that, let me just go back on what Joey just said, because that was a really big distinction. Everybody that's looking to build some construction, there is a big difference between electricians or plumbers that do new construction and the walls are just studs versus a renovation. Because if you have a renovation and your plumber that you're just working with does new construction, you will leave the day and then you come back and half of your ceilings are all ripped down.
Right.
And when you start, that happened to us in Newark. And basically what happened was the inspector came in, and because you move so much of your ceiling, now we had to hardwire some smoke alarms for like a 3-family house. It's a job that spiraled out of control. But one of the war stories is that actually it was on that first deal that I talked to you guys before. I wanted to try to keep things as cheap as I possibly could. And what I didn't realize at that time, because I thought everybody would be, you know, would kind of have my work ethic and be honest and, you know, have some integrity, find the hard way that's not the way it goes. On that property, the guy that was doing the plumbing was not the licensed plumber. And guys, just to let you know, there's a lot of plumbers and electricians out there that say they're licensed, but they really work under the license of somebody else. Like they get somebody to give them a stamp. That's not necessarily means that they're going to do a bad job, but you know, that's the question you want to ask. Are you actually the licensed the licensed person? Because you're going to need the license at some point, and then you're going to ask for a license, and they're going to say, you know, ABC company, and you're like, but your company is, you know, whatever, some other company. Yeah, so be very careful about that, because what happens is a lot of the guys that work for the plumbers and electricians, after a little while, they're like, you know, I'm going to do some side business and all this stuff, and they make a new business out of it.
Real quick, Randy, how would you verify that? Like, because they could say that they are, and they could provide, like, how do you verify if they're really licensed or not?
Well, this is funny. Actually, with Nick Tang, man, I was mentoring one of his students in Philly, and this contractor, man, he had he has some balls, man. He gave a license, and he gave an insurance certificate, and the guy sent me the information because I was help vetting the contractor. And I'm like, bro, this insurance certificate is a little shady here. I was like, the lines, the fonts aren't the same. They don't match up. Like, I think this guy, you know, PDF like edited this thing. Wow. But the way you can actually do it is you can actually call Consumer Affairs. There's a hotline. So you can check if somebody's license is active, if it's not, if there's any files against them. And when it comes to the insurance, I mean, the insurance certificate will have the phone number, and it will have, you know, the contractor's information you can call. Because another thing that contractors do a lot, and you'd be surprised at this, they give you an insurance certificate. It's just a piece of paper. Well, some insurances are very expensive. So then what will happen is they give you the piece of paper. You think that they're insured, but they cancel their policy after they got it. Like, you know, it's a 6-month policy, a year policy. They cancel it a month later, so they get like a little bit of a rebate, but they still got this piece of paper because it's a piece of paper, you know. So you do want to actually check on all that kind of stuff. But this horror story was, I was trying to go cheap with my labor, and what you guys are going to find is good work is not cheap, and cheap work is not good. You have to find that good middle ground, because Joey loves this phrase. I see him on Facebook all the time about it. You do need to find somebody that's like investor friendly, a contractor that's investor friendly. And what that means is different to everybody. For me, it just means I'm going to show up when I say I'm going to show up. I'm going to take the pictures as I say I'm going to take the pictures. I'm going to make sure that the jobs are smooth, and I'm going to communicate. To me, that's investor friendly. Everybody says investor friendly, they just think cheap, but that's really not.
Right.
I pay all my guys well. That's why my rehabs are usually a little more expensive than everybody else's. But I get to sit home and I ride around on my scooter with my kids. So there's a reason that I do that. But that story was, so the guy that I hired to do the plumber was somebody that I've worked with. And I've always looked up to him, because when it comes to framing, this guy was on point. Like, he knew what he was doing. And he said he could do the plumbing. So I got a plumber to give us a stamp. And this guy starts doing all this plumbing. And, you know, there's certain codes where you can cut holes. Like, if you have a 2x8 floor joist, you don't want to cut a 4-inch hole in there to put your drain in, because you diminish the integrity of a beam. So I fortunately, I had the plumber come out before we were going to call inspections. And I was so embarrassed, like my tail's between my legs, because this plumber starts flipping out, and he's like, if you called the inspector, I would lose my license. He's going off, and I'm being silent again. And I turn and look at that contractor guy. I'm going like this, and I'm thinking like, WTF, bro? Like, what did you just do? Because I didn't know the codes back then. So, come to find out that the contractor guy didn't know what he was doing, but I was always wondering why he's staying late on the job site. Wow. And I find, I guess when you're doing drugs, I guess these little glass vials, maybe that's crack or cocaine. I don't know how that stuff comes, but I was like, they were on the job site, and I come the next day, and the guy's back again. So when I'm not around, they're doing all these drugs, and I have a zero tolerance for that. Like, if I see a beer can, I mean, I'm gonna flip a little bit. Right. I haven't flipped out in about 5 years, so that's a good thing. But the story was that I tried to get the cheapest way. I ended up hiring a drug addict that I didn't know, and I didn't know he would be stupid enough to do it on the job site. Like, do that stuff at home if you need to. Right. But that's also because I trust a little bit too much. I am very trustworthy. You know, if I give somebody my word, I expect they give it back. But that's it's not the reality in life. So, but again, unfortunately, it only costs maybe, I don't know, $5,000 to fix everything, whatever. It's basically start over, because when you start over, things cost more than if you do it right the first time, because now we had to change all the framing that he messed up. And then we had to hire the plumber who charged me more because now he was kind of spiteful.
Wow. Yeah. So, I love that you said, you have an expectation of how kind of things need to be with, cleanliness, the non-drugs anymore. And I'm sure that $5,000 experience saved you millions over the years,
Oh, yeah. No, it absolutely did. But yeah, I do have, I have an expectation because I only deal with people that, you vet people as much as you can. But so, if I sense you don't have integrity, like, I don't care if you mess something up. I tell people all the time, you're going to mess something up. It's going to happen, especially, the guys that are trying to start your own construction company, or you're doing it because you want to leverage to do your rehabs. Things will go wrong. That's not a problem, because every problem has a solution. And when you take that attitude, things become much better. But, I expect that I deal with people that are going to be problem solvers. They're going to say, hey, we have a problem, but this is what we can do to fix it, X, Y, and Z. It will cost you money. But my mentality with that is, you can make a mistake. Just don't make it again, please. Second time, I'm not going to be so nice. And the third time, we're probably done. But it's a learning experience. You either learn or you win or you learn. That's it. There's no losing. Win or learn.
Exactly. That's the only way to flow, baby. So listen, guys, everyone who's on here, they're super curious when it comes to hiring subcontractors or framers or electricians or day laborers, right? Of course, there's specific things that you look for, but overall, what do you think are some of the main characteristics that you look for when you're just trying to hire someone in general? So we'll start with Joey.
I think you want to try to look and try to see if they're honest, because a lot of guys brag a lot, right? And they'll tell you, hey, I know how to do this. I know how to do sheetrock, plumbing, electric, all of that stuff. And so I try to quiz them a little bit, see how much they really know, see if they know any codes or anything like that. But it's harder when you're new, right? You probably know less than them.
Yeah.
So, that's how I do it though, like if I meet somebody new, I ask them, hey, how, what kind of jobs have you done? Where do you used to work, first of all, right? And then there are a lot of guys that'll say, hey, I've been doing this for 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, whatever. And, just because they've been doing it for a long time doesn't mean they actually know how to do it.
Right.
And, that they can do it not sloppy as well. So it's kind of, with construction, unfortunately, it's kind of like a trial and error. Some guys that are probably more modest, and they'll probably do a nicer job. They don't brag as much, and they can do a really nice job. Like I had two really great carpenters that I that I had in my company, and both have left, and both have started their own business. And I had the two at the same time, and one was really quiet, and he did excellent job. The other one was really, I would say, boastful.
Wow.
Right. He used to brag a lot, and he was very loud mouth. But he was always very gung ho. Like, he was always like the first one at the job, started doing the demo, things like that. It was always very high energy. The other one was just slow and steady, but he doesn't make too many mistakes, always does it right. So they were kind of like the extreme of each other.
Right.
But they were both, in my opinion, they were both great carpenters.
Yeah.
Like one of the best carpenters I've ever seen. And I was glad to have them in my company. Both for probably like roughly. One was with me for like about 10 years, and the other one was with me about 8.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's a long time for sure.
Yeah, long time.
So for you, it's more of, how do they respect themselves? Do they feel like they have to like brag to get the business, or do they know that their work does the bragging for themselves? Right.
Yeah.
What you look for.
Right.
Real quick, before I go over here to Randy, what about pricing? Like, how much does pricing factor into, like, is this a good hire or a bad hire? Like, can you tell, like, based off how someone prices something, if they're going to be, like, does pricing factor into their ability to get something done?
Not really. You know what? I try to find out, how busy are these guys? Because I don't hire the people that are super busy, because they're not gonna have time for me. So I also don't want to hire the guys that are constantly calling me for work,
Right.
because if they always have no work, there's something wrong. So I try to find that medium.
I get
Somebody
it.
that is busy but doesn't have like months of work.
Got it.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Joey. Randy, what are the characteristics you look for when you're hiring someone?
I mean, I hate to keep piggybacking off Joey, but he went first. So, he brought up a lot of the good points. When I'm looking for the contractor, I don't want the guy that is too busy. If they are boasting and they're bragging, it's going to be one of two things. Well, one of a couple things. Number one, they just are that good and they have a cocky attitude. However, be mindful of that, because that cocky attitude will rub everybody on your job site the wrong way.
Yep.
And it's going to be a toxic environment. He may be good, but I go back to soccer analogies. I tell my kids all the time, like, you can be the best player on the team and not be the captain because you're not a team player. So I was like, you need to communicate well. So the guys that brag, I mean, I kind of give them a little red flag. I just went actually 2 days ago. I'm looking for a new HVAC guy, not a new one, but an additional one, because we just need more bandwidth. I mean, I always go to the job site. So a lot of the contractors I deal with, I do get out of referrals. But when I do referrals, I definitely do vet them out. I vet them out, like Joey said. I was like, ask them a couple questions. If you guys don't know questions what to ask, that giveaway later would probably be a good thing to say, hey, what do I do? Mm-hmm. But you want to ask just a couple questions. And if you don't know the questions, ask somebody to ask for you, or say, what question should I ask them?
Could you guys give us an example of a question? Just one question off the top of your head?
Well, I mean, you could go for, for a roof. If you're doing like a very low here, there's a normal pitched roof like this, and there's very flat roofs. Yeah. There's a certain point where you should not use shingles, and you got to use a rolled roof. I want to see what they are going to say. Like, is that a 12-2? Is that because what you can do and what you should do are two different things. But I want to say, oh, you can just put shingles on there. Well, if it's too low, you can put shingles, but you should put a layer of ice shield underneath it first, because when shingles are very flat and there's a point you can go, a storm could rip them up. So you need to have protection underneath it. Because some houses, like we did it in Westfield, it was very low, and we put ice shield because they wanted that look. When they look out their window, they want to see shingles. They don't want to see rolled roof. It's a rental kind of roof. So, something along the lines of that. But I definitely have a conversation with the guys. But then I say, the guy that I met the other day, it was an hour and a half north. And I'm on the phone with a friend of mine. He's like, dude, why are you going an hour and a half north? I'm like, here's why. Because I'm going to set the expectation that I'm just a normal, everyday human being. I sat down with the guy. I had a normal conversation with him. We made a couple jokes. So now he understands, like, I'm just a down-to-earth kind of guy. I'm not a ball buster. Because when people come in and, everything is about price, I'm going to tell you guys right now, you cannot run this business on a spreadsheet. You really can't. It's a guide. So, like, I have a spreadsheet on my computer up here, and it says, whatever was on there. It was like, I don't know, a steam radiator is this price. Because of my preservation, we have a lot of small little things, but a toilet flapper is this price. A new front door, good grade, is this price. But things always vary, so it's just a good gauge. So when I'm hiring these contractors, like I said, I want to go to the job sites, and I usually like to see 3 job sites. You always want to see an after, because you want to see what the final product's going to look like. I definitely want to see the before, but most importantly, I actually want to see the during. The during, to me, is actually where you see what's going to happen at the end. And I vetted out a contractor for a company that works out of California, because I've done a lot of business with them. We did like almost $1 million last year with them. But I was like, look, let me go check this contractor out. And they said, well, you're not going to find much out because they're just doing the demolition. I'm like, I'll surprise you. So in the kitchen, the sheetrock is usually gray. But in the kitchen, there's sections that are gray. Then there's like a 4x4, which is a half of a sheet of purple, which is the mold resistant from Lowe's. And then there's like a 4x4 of green. And I told the guys, like, you're going to have problems here. I was like, this contractor saves every little bit of material. That means that he watches every penny. And he's going to step over the dollars for the penny. And I was like, your end product's going to be very sloppy. Fast forward about 2 months later, I go back again because I want to see the end product. And the video, because I do videos on almost all projects, because pictures can be very deceptive.
Yes.
But, you know, I went back and I'm like, I'm being honest on what's here. Because when I go to a job site, I don't just critique. Because critiquing makes you look like a jerk. It looks like you're trying to get the business. I do it just because I was like, I'm going to give you an honest assessment. So I'll go and say, wow, this electrician is on point. Because when your electrician's on the point, the inspector walks in, he goes like this, you passed.
Exactly.
If it looks sloppy, he's in there for like 30 minutes. So when credit is due, I give it. But when red flags are there, I mean, I will let you know every little red flag there is to know. So yeah, before and afters, the referrals, and you know, you just got to get a good vibe from the person. And I make sure that they can follow instructions, which is, will you communicate with me? Now this HVAC guy I met on our first meeting. This is not the best sign, but he couldn't make our first meeting. Fortunately, his office was only 20 minutes south, so I drove a little south. But what he did do is he texted me the day before. He says, hey, I'm not going to be able to make this meeting. I'll be there at 8 o'clock in the morning. 8 o'clock comes by. He's having another problem. He's like, I'm sorry, it's going to be more like 11 o'clock right now. Now, I have a lot of patience for that because I know from the construction business, things don't go right. You know, John didn't show up for work this morning. That screws up your whole schedule.
Right.
But the fact that I told him the fact that you communicated it is why I'm sitting in front of you right now, because that tells me that you are cognizant of your clientele and you understand you have a new business coming in, because I hate to shop around with a passion. I've had one plumber, one electrician, like they do almost 90% of my work because they're reliable, and I just don't want to go find new people.
I agree. So I have 2 minutes left before I have to end this. We're going to do our giveaway. So this is the final giveaway. This giveaway is going to be from Randy. Okay, so listen, if you guys want your chance to win this giveaway, pay close attention here. This giveaway is literally Randy's going to be offering his time to come out and go through a project with you. So if you have a project in Middlesex, Union County, somewhere in the central Jersey area, and maybe you want help looking at, you know, a project before you buy it, maybe you want help, you know, getting a better idea of what a real scope of work needs to be like for this project, Randy's going to be offering to come out and do this with you and show you how he puts it together. Okay. So Randy, we're so grateful for that. But if you want to win this giveaway, you have to answer this question. When you're hiring a subcontractor or a contractor in general, how many job sites should you see from them? How many job sites should you see from someone if you're going to be hiring them? Randy said a specific number, and we need to see that answer. Let's see who gets it. And I'm going to be giving this to the third person who gets it right. So the third person is going to win. All right, they're flying in. Let's see. Keep them coming. You can answer it more than once, because if you get it as the third one, then you win. Let's go. Who's got it? Boom. This is the third one right here. Santiago Romero. Brother, if you shoot me a message me on Facebook. I'm going to connect you and Randy so you guys can set that up. Cool. Santiago is our winner. All right, guys. So I do have to end this here. You guys provided so much value. What's kind of the best way for, if people wanted to hire you or they wanted to stay in touch with you or even keep up to date with your guys' projects, what's the best way for people to get in touch with you guys to stay in touch?
So for me, it would be Facebook. You know, I'm pretty active on Facebook, as everybody knows. So it's just Joey Chan on Facebook. And also, I have Instagram as well, but not as active. It's NJ House, the numerical 4 cash.
Randy?
All right. Yeah, because who knows how long this is posted. I mean, I won't get my cell phone out right now. But, yeah, hit me up on Facebook. But the best way from that is, text me and call me. You know, so you go through Facebook. I'll give you guys my cell phone. It's cool.
Love it. Gentlemen, I appreciate you guys. Yo, if you guys got value, make sure you like and share this with your friends. We do have to end this now so I can start the next session. So let's keep the ball rolling. Thank you, gentlemen, so much for your time.
Thank you, guys.
Later.
All right, guys. We'll see you later.